Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Joined by, as I am each and every Friday, by Coach Holt, who's repping the hat. Coach, show us again.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. The Giants still suck, right?
Giants still suck. They got lucky one game, and they still suck.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, every blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then, right? Oh, nice. You got the mug working today.
I'm all in, baby. I'm all in every day, but I went overboard today. Sorry.
All in, overboard today. 6-4 win last night. 7.5 up in the National League West over the Padres. 8.5 over the D-backs. And like we've already established, the Giants still suck. So it is a great day to be a Dodger. And then also added a game to your wild card lead on Milwaukee, up 3.5 in that wild card setting, and that's huge because we've talked about that you don't want to play that 3-game series. But overall, Coach, it has just been an awesome stretch of baseball, man.
Yeah, it's been good stuff, and a lot of different people are performing there and chipping in. As you mentioned last time we were on, Case, I know you. It's basic baseball. It's good stuff. It's timely hitting, good defense, good pitching, and the same old recipe has been around for over 150 years, however long it's been for baseball. So,
no doubt. Well. Try this on for size. Scored in 4 different innings. You scored early. You scored late. Scored in the 8th inning again. So that's all 6 games post All-Star break. The Dodgers have scored in the 8th inning or later. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think this is right. That makes 15 total runs in the 8th inning or later for the Dodgers at this point. I think that's, you can give or take a run or two there, but I think I'm pretty close. And then also another big part of what the Dodgers did last night, they've done this consistently. The Giants put up a 2 spot to go up 2-1 last night, Coach, and then that very next half inning, the Dodgers answered right back. I mean, that's just a slap in the face to the other team to show you, hey, do what you want, but we're going to answer you, and there's nothing you can do to beat us tonight. I love that answer back part of it.
And they can't build momentum off of it.
Right.
It's Major League Baseball 2-1 is a lead, and with all the arms, every team has the big guns coming out of the bullpen, the gas throwers, like pretty much every team has them. Some have more, some don't, but they've all got them.
And Logan Webb was good, Coach. You don't want to get down to him. Yeah.
No, that guy's an all-star pitcher, and he's been good for a long time. So he's a good pitcher and always has been. Been kind of tough on the Dodgers at times, somewhat, but he's an all-star and he's a good pitcher. Of course, he didn't pitch well in the all-star game, but we won't go there. He kind of messed that deal up. But anyway, but he's a good pitcher, and the Dodgers do it against quality arms. So. And it's great to answer back right there. I just looked at the box score, case. You may get to it later. But 7 runs out of our bottom 3. 7 hits out of our bottom 3 hitters. That's clutch. Out of the 14 hits, we had 7 of them down there. So that's great production out of your bottom of your order. And our boy Gavin's still there. He is. He's still coming. I think 230 now. He's up to 230 mark.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him in a second. You mentioned it. 7 hits, 4 RBIs for the bottom 3 hitters. If you stretch it out to the bottom 5 hitters, 9 hits, because then that includes Gavin Lux and his 2 hits last night. So whenever you're talking about an offense that 8 out of the 9 starters got hits, the bottom of the lineup had 7 hits, the bottom 5 had 9 hits, bottom 3 had 4 RBIs. You answered the Giants with their 2 spot early, then you scored again late. I mean, that literally is the exact formula. Not just to win a rando game in July, but that's how you win close games against great teams in high leverage situations. So just kind of my coach brain kicks into gear, and I start thinking, man, this is the formula right here. This is the roadmap that we saw.
Well, and you go back to bullpen too. Of course, I'm reading here off the box score. Bullpen, 7 pitchers, struck out 16 guys. Yeah, 16 strikeouts. So a lot of swing and miss that they're getting on the Giants. That helps big time, as we all know. 16 strikeouts, only 4 walks. They scattered out. I think they gave up 11 hits, but who cares? If you're getting 16 strikeouts, they're not being able to move them. And I know you'll probably want to talk about Kershaw's big inning there at some point. I'll shut up on that one. I know there's a great comeback by him that 1 inning. We'll probably get into that, but no, that's good stuff all the way around. We envisioned this when the Dodgers started. The great lineup of it, all the Hall of Famers, MVPs at the top, blah, blah, blah. We always knew we had to have production from the bottom of the order, and you get that like last night. That's big, but we need it all year long. They need to be improving down those bottom 3 hitters, and Lux is coming on big time. So that's a good sign. Get some of the others going, and you never know. With the trade date coming up, they may pick up another bat right there. We don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I tell you, Coach, the best teams, and Josh Holliday says this all the time, and he mentioned Matt Holliday will say this all the time.
Yep.
The best team, Tom Holliday was big on this. Gary Ward was huge on this at Oklahoma State. The best teams create competitions with their players inside of the team element, but it stays with inside the team element. So you have guys that, hey, man, this guy's playing pretty good. I better get my crap together or he's going to take my spot. Now, they're still brothers off the field. They're liable to be roommates. But within the competitive element of things, they compete with each other everything they do. So when you look at Gavin Lux, hey, the Nick Ahmed pickup, that was just absolute magic. I mean, that was magic picking that guy up to solidify the shortstop spot until you have time to breathe and think. I mean, you're thinking about the trade deadline. You have all. It's like whenever in your life you have like a million different things and you're like, dude, I just can't deal with this right now. Just give me a minute. We'll address it when I have time. That was what Nick Ahmed did for this Dodgers organization. I can't deal with this right now. Let's just go get a guy that's going to solidify it until we have time to address exactly the future of this. And Nick Ahmed did that exactly. Kike Hernandez has been kicking in gear. So that competition within a team element has really kicked into gear, especially for those fringe players.
Well, and Ahmed is such a great story. For the last 2 weeks, he's been in Arizona just working out, waiting on that call. And the Dodgers, obviously doing their homework. Everybody knew what was going on there. He got July 9th, I think, when he got released by the Giants. And he said himself, he's just in Arizona working out, just waiting on a call from someone. And the Dodgers, when you were right, it just happened that it worked out. They needed that guy. So, but he solidified that. And it's a veteran shortstop who can help you for now. And, and he may be a key pickup as you go forward to keep him around. It depends on how they're going to do that. Once all the pieces start falling, what might happen there. But that's been a big pickup for the Dodgers. Like I said, Hernandez is coming on. You're seeing the things we talked about, Case. We and understand we're doing this without Mookie Betts. We've got Ohtani and Freddie, but arguably the best overall player is not even on the field. So he's still injured. So they fight. I think at one time the Dodgers had 15 guys on the IL, more than any other team in the major league. So here we go again. There's no excuse. Nobody's making excuse. I'm not. You're not. The Dodgers sure aren't.
Next man up. We're the Dodgers.
Next man up. We keep going. We're going to go to Arizona, get Nick Ahmed. We're going to put these guys in and give everybody their shot because they've earned it and because we've trained them. We believe in them. And here we are, 6-1 after the All-Star break. So the Dodgers coaching staff, scouting staff, all those people are doing tremendous jobs, which they always have.
The Dodgers are going to have some great problems to have. It's always great when you have too much depth, and when we're talking about when Mookie Betts does get back, and then Miguel Rojas gets back. You forget we're doing it without Rojas right now at the moment, and he hasn't been healthy, since he went down on the IL a couple of days ago. So we're doing it without those two, but when those two get back healthy, you're going to have some great problems. First of all, if Kike Hernandez keeps playing like this, the question is, if Max Muncy doesn't come back, I know I got in a conversation with Jay about this the other day. We definitely were on different sides of this. He's of the opinion you go out and get a league average third baseman. You solidify it that way. You move Miguel Rojas to short, Mookie Betts to second. And I kind of pushed back a little bit saying, hey, I would rather have Kike Hernandez at third base than any league average veteran from somewhere else because I have no idea how they accumulated those numbers. It could have been because they got 5 hits on a Tuesday night in a 15-2 game in front of 8,000 people in Oakland. I mean, I just don't have any context to that. I do have context on Kike that he can perform in the big moments in a Dodgers uniform. So I would choose Kike over any other league average third baseman in that scenario. And then also, if Lux keeps playing like this, I mean, it's going to be a really good problem for the Dodgers to have to address here in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, you know what you're getting, Case. Why go out and get other people? Lux has shown in previous years to be a good offensive player in the major league level. Not a whole lot of years, but he has shown he can do that, and he's starting to show that now. And Kike, you know what you're going to get there. And he's had some big hits.
I have all the context on Kike is what I'm saying.
You know what you need to know? He's had big hits in playoff situations for the Dodgers in the past. So he's a guy that I'm like you. I don't. Not that they wouldn't do it, but I don't know if that fixes your problem. I put Hernandez over there, and like you said, we got other guys. When Mookie comes back, you got a lot of problems that but they're good kind of problems to have. And we've probably got the answers sitting right there right now. Don't get me wrong. I'd love for them to get another bad. Rosarina's gone, by the way, but everybody knew that. But
that's okay.
That's okay. That's fine. Another big bat or another big arm. But you're going to have, if you get one of those big time pitchers, as we know, Case, your boys that you love down the farm. We're going to lose some good ones. But that's what part of it is. Two sides to that, as you always say, you're happy for them to get their opportunity, but you hate to see them go.
Yeah. You talk about those boys down the farm. I got to interview Bobby Miller last night, Michael Grove, Michael Peterson, the British Gas, and so that was a whole lot of fun for me last night. So that and then Ben Kasparius, who finally is back. He was just killing it earlier in the year and probably was going to get a major league call-up at some point, but then went down with a slight oblique strain. Okay, so a little bit more of a frustrating situation for me. Jason Heyward, I know he had a really good year last year. Here's a couple of issues I have with Jason Heyward. First of all, both times he's gone the IL, there's been like maybe one minor league game that he's played in. Then he's come straight back to the major league. So he says all the adjustments have to be made at the major league level. Well, dude, I'm not really interested in 0 for 4s watching you figure out how to adjust. Those 0 for 4s need to be in Oklahoma City like they are for Bobby Miller right now. Landon Knack got optioned back now. That's frustrating to me to begin with. And then second of all, when you look at the way that he's playing offense, especially in the last 7 to 15 games, and overall in the season, a little bit over the Mendoza line, that's okay. That's one thing. But then also by him being in the lineup, that keeps Andy Pages in center field, of which I think the Dodgers are better off with Andy Pages in right field and just somebody that can go play good defense like a James Outman, and whatever offense you get from him, you get. So I think there's a double whammy on the negative side for Heyward. First of all, he's not producing, and then also he's keeping the defense from not being as good as it should be in the outfield. Well, that's frustrating to me. Am I off there?
I don't think so. I was just getting ready to mention that a while ago. I haven't kept up as much as I should because I know he's been injured a little bit. Yeah, hitting 202 after last night. After 0 for 4 last night. We're going to sit here and hold the fire to Taylor and Hernandez and even Lux, all these guys when they're struggling. Yet we give him a pass because he is so well respected around the league. Like I told you, Matt Holliday told me he's one of the best teammates he ever had. He's highly respected. He's a proven major leaguer. But again, like you said, we're the Dodgers, and it's
merit
time.
System, coach.
Yeah, he's a great guy to have on your roster. But at some point, if he's going to end up under 200 here before long, then you have to have some tough decisions there, like you have with the other guys. If you're going to hold the other guys accountable, same way there, like you said, the Dodgers have some things they could do there. That is a little frustrating because I was kind of. I don't know why when they brought him back for this year. I know there's no negatives to him as far as the clubhouse, that sort of thing, and what he can do.
Just didn't feel like he could duplicate it.
I'm just kind of a little bit shocked they brought him back. I thought, it might be getting a little long in the tooth, whatever. Like I said, by all accounts, he's a great guy, a great human being, and that says more about than how he is a baseball player. So he's a credit to himself and his family and everything, but. There we go again. Those guys are getting paid a lot of money. They're going to lose their jobs if they're not successful. So tough decisions have to be made, and maybe coming pretty soon.
Yeah, it just kind of frustrated me that you bypass any kind of rehab scenario to go to Oklahoma City, which, okay, fine, that's your decision. I also don't want to see an 0 for 4 after that. That 0 for 4 just needs to be in front of 3,500 people on a Wednesday night, in my opinion. And then also there's an opportunity cost to it because you got a young man at the AAA level that's become a really good defender. I got a chance to interview him, released his interview the other day, who's leading the PCL in home runs and hitting about 280 in Ryan Ward, who has always had a great hit tool. So there's also an opportunity cost to that situation as well when you're talking about your prospects. So, hey, on to a better note, Austin Barnes, how great has he been?
Yep.
How about this, Coach? 11-game hitting streak. He's hitting 280. He's hitting 556 in his last 7 games. He's hitting 356 in his last 15, 333 in his last 30, and it's almost the exact opposite of the conversation we have with Heyward. Yes, the production's great. That's wonderful. But that's not necessarily relatable to the playoffs because I'm not sure he's going to play a whole lot in the playoffs. Right. But where it is the most relatable, the better he plays, the more rest Will Smith gets, and the more rest Will Smith gets, the better version of him the Dodgers should get.
I mean, it will, you can tell – I'm not there, but from the outsider looking in here, who cares about he's getting beaten down a little bit, but that happened.
Nobody is a fan of Barnes more than Will Smith. I promise you that.
No, and that's a great scenario the Dodgers have there. Will Smith is an all-star catcher. He's got what it takes and everything. But I agree, we're getting down the time where he needs some days off. He needs to get his body. Those are major league catchers, Case, as you know. They take a beating every night. Those guys, it's amazing. Some of those guys will catch 150 games or so. I don't know how many of them do it nowadays, but back in the old days, they'd catch them all, back ends of doubleheader. But, this is great when you can put somebody in that can produce when they're filling in for you. And Barnes has proven to be a really good catcher defensively. And like you said, now that he's hitting, that's just gravy, man. So as you said, that's been a big key to the Dodgers' success too right there.
And he's one of my favorites. He was my first favorite player of the new generation when they moved to Oklahoma City. Just an awesome dude out of Riverside, California. Talked to Michael Peterson, who's also from Riverside. Kind of a funny story. Michael didn't have, he kind of had a tough situation there. At spring training, Michael was kind of talking about Riverside, like, this and that, not necessarily talking about it positively. And Austin came over and he goes, "Hey, dude, that's my hometown. Why are we smacking my hometown?" And Michael hears this guy just signed with the Dodgers, never been in the major leagues. He's like, oops, changed course real fast. Yeah, sorry about that. That's just kind of a spring training story. That kind of stuff goes on over and over and over in spring training. Okay, Coach, I'm going to default over to you. Clayton Kershaw, what'd you think?
We both saw him in Oklahoma City. I saw one start in Oklahoma City. I didn't watch any of the others online when he pitched, but a little bit of command issue that night. I felt like the breaking ball seemed to be good. I think it's kind of the same way last night. And listening to him, he felt like his fastball command wasn't where it needs to be. Wasn't sharp, but he felt like his breaking pitch. I think he's getting a little better with his changeup too.
Yeah.
But the perfect way to describe him, as I touched on a while ago. 4 straight hits. They got 2 runs. You got 2 on, nobody out. What does he do? Strikes out 3 in a row. And he's not doing it with 98, 99 anymore. Not that he's always, 95, 96.
He's doing it with 88, 89.
He's doing it with 88, 89. He's doing it with this right here.
Yes.
And he's doing it with all that experience as a guy. First of all, he didn't panic. He's been in that situation a million times, and he knew he had to make a pitch. And each hitter, each pitch was important to try to get out of that. And he ends up striking out 3 guys and get out of it. He basically saved the game right there. But that's a Clayton Kershaw that we're envisioning. He's 90, 91 now tops. But his curveball, slider, and like I said, his changeup is. He even said that himself. I saw it was getting better. So that's more of a pitch for him. So we're seeing a different version of Clayton Kershaw. What the best part about him is all those years of experience, all this heart right here the guy's got, and this he's got right here. So that was great. I thought it was good. I really thought it was a good first start for him because I was a little bit concerned. Not in Oklahoma City. I was a little bit concerned with command there. He had a good 3 innings, and I'm standing up screaming like everybody else. I love the guy because I'm all in with him, the Dodgers. But, last night I was kind of worried yesterday when he's going to pitch, but I didn't really feel the worried after it. I mean, it's not where he wants to be. And like I said, his newer version still needs to be better, but it's not going to be what he was, 5-10 years ago. We're not going to see that guy. You don't have the 90. I think he's 96, probably what he topped out at 95, 96 in his younger days. That guy's gone, but man, it's great to have him like that. And I was very, very pleased with it, very excited about it. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, fantastic. And it's also, before we actually kind of get into the nuts and bolts of his sequencing and all that, it's also the Greg Maddux effect. He gets to sit in that dugout with Gavin Stone, Landon Knack. I got to see Landon last night, so he is in Oklahoma City right now. But before he got optioned down, Landon Knack, he's got to sit there with Bobby Miller and talk to Bobby Miller and all of these young pitchers and work through it and almost be like a second coach. And I cannot tell you how valuable that is to those young guys. So there's a Greg Maddux effect there, definitely to that.
No doubt about it. We talked about that when Maddux, the end of his career, was with the Dodgers. Yeah. Not only is he great for pitchers, he's great for hitters.
Yes.
He can talk to hitters. That's the thing about it. This guy's telling you, here's what he's going to try to do. Here's what he's trying to do to you. And when you're up there hitting, look for this. He tips this. That's the best part about it. They've been around they're so smart and have honed their craft so well. They're helping the hitters too. It's not just helping the pitchers. It's invaluable for that dugout in those young players' case.
No doubt about that. So let's get in the nuts and bolts. He was a heavy four-seam slider guy. Early on in the game, he sprinkled in a couple of different change-ups, and then he got into the inning that you were talking about where he gave up the hit to Fitzgerald, gave up a couple of hits, and then Ramos and Chapman ambushed a four-seam. So what happened was Fitzgerald is just insanely hot. He hung a slider to him. Hey, when you're going to throw sliders, sometimes you hang one. Thank goodness it didn't, just go like all the way to the moon. And then Ramos and Chapman, after seeing that they hung sliders, they ambushed four-seam fastballs. And this happened to him in his last rehab outing in wherever it was, Round Rock.
Round Rock.
It was in Round Rock, yeah.
For Oklahoma City, on the road.
Yeah, for Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And so he got ambushed by Davis Wenzel, who hit a home run, who's a major league hitter, and hit a home run off of him. That was one of the runs he gave up there. So give Fitzgerald, the first one to Fitzgerald was execution. He hung the slider. The second and third hits to Ramos and Chapman, just give them credit. They ambushed fastballs. And then it was sequencing to VR, because whenever you look at the way that he attacked VR, he just was kind of a two-pitch guy at that point and didn't really have enough of a mix to get him out at that point. So there was a little bit of sequencing, it was a little bit of execution, and then it was a little bit of, hey, just give the other team credit. Right. I say all that to say, after he got into that jam like you're talking about, Coach, there was only one hitter from that point on that he didn't throw at least 3 different pitch types to.
Yeah.
And he started sequencing, and it was like he was throwing a different pitch every other pitch. It would be a fastball, curveball, slider, change. And then and so from that point on, he became much, much, much more unpredictable. And then he also executed. That's what a Hall of Fame pitcher can do for you.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful part. That's why I was worried going in after watching. I didn't watch it live, but watching quite a bit of it is like, that's the guy we're kind of been waiting on, and that's the guy that he's going to be now. That's who he is now. We've seen it in other pitchers down through the past, but the only problem is some of those guys weren't Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. It's invaluable, the knowledge he has, and still the ability. I mean, to go through a major arm surgery and he's back, he's only 91. Only 91, that's plenty if he spots it up. And that's what he's talking about now. He wants to command that fastball better. He's going to make a mistake, whether everybody does, but he wants to spot that fastball up. Now I'm going to eat you up this stuff like you just said. 3 different pitches to each of those hitters, at least 3 different pitches. And these are major league hitters, and he's having success with it. So, he's learning as he goes too, because this is in the last couple of years, a new Clayton Kershaw. So he's learning his craft, the way he's going to pitching from now on, and he seems like he's learned it pretty well. Got a pretty good head start on it.
It certainly doesn't get any easier from here. Houston, who's been a great team as of late, you're on the road. That's a dome. It's a bandbox for a boy. That place is a bandbox. It is a big time home field advantage because they filled up. Give the Houston fans credit.
Yep.
They're loud. It's a great environment in terms of energy. It's a terrible field to actually play because the bandbox aspect of it. It's just such an advantage for players that get to play there every game. And then you're talking about after that, you come back to California and you face San Diego before you get a little bit of a break in the A's. But a huge, huge 6 games coming up because, again, you only have the 3.5 game lead on Milwaukee in the wild card. And then that 7.5, man, that could shrink to like 3 real fast.
Yeah, like I said, the Padres, because our boy Cisse threw a no-hitter last night.
Yeah.
That's one was kind of an off-seasonal. Hope we might pick up. Didn't happen, but he's a good pickup for them and a good pitcher. And they're playing pretty good baseball. And we know how talented the Padres are. They've got talent. We know that. They had it last year. They had tons of it last year, and they lost it, but they still got it. And they're a good team. Yeah, these are big 6 games. Houston, like them or not, with whatever, they're a good team. And nobody felt like they were going to stay in last place all year. But, man, I think they said in the history of baseball, it's one of the biggest turnarounds already, maybe the biggest turnaround of a team from where they were in the span of less than 30 days. Now they were in first place. I didn't check the standings this morning. I know they were right there in first place. And the Mariners didn't hurt themselves by going out and get a Rosarina. They're all in, evidently. So maybe the Mariners weren't too crazy about giving up that lead, so they went and got somebody. So the Dodgers, these next six are huge. Thank God 3 of them are at home, and hopefully you can get through. And the way they're playing right now, I mean, who knows? I mean, anything could happen. You wouldn't be surprised either way. But like you said, Houston is playing very well, and and it'll be packed down over 3 days, and they'll be loud and obnoxious, and you know that's the way it's supposed to be. Though these that's the way it is. That's the way it should be when you go on the road.
By the way, the Astros are 1 game ahead of the Mariners, so that's going to be a very interesting race to follow there. But, hey, Coach, I appreciate you joining. It's been great talking to you.
You bet.
And, you know I love you, and it's great to see your face, so thanks for joining.
Love you, too. And, like I said, looking forward to the Dodgers and Astros, and then we'll get into Padres next week, another team we're not too crazy about. But, you know,
no doubt about it.
They all suck like the Giants. The Giants suck the most, but they all suck.
Absolutely. But, hey, I tell you what, you couldn't be going into 2 more hostile environments, at Houston and then at San Diego, man. It's going to be hostile, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, at San Diego. Okay, I thought they would come back. No, it will be. And they'll pack it out there, too. But, hey, we wouldn't have it any other way, Case. If it's worth having, you're going to have to earn it. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Also, stick around. We're going to take a trip down on the farm right on the other side. Going to start our Down on the Farm segment as we do each and every time at the Single A Rancho Cucamonga Quakes level. And I got a kick out of this. This is Kendall George, of course, with that 80 grade speed. He hits this ball right here against the shift. I like it because he's intentionally trying to hit that ground ball against the shift. If you want to shift him up the middle, he's just going to slap one to the left of the shortstop and run like crazy. Now, I got a kick out of this. Watch the non-feel of this. Don't throw that ball. I mean, my God, I know you're trying to be flashy there and all that, but really the only thing you're going to be able to do is just throw it away. You're not ever going to get Kendall George out on a ball like that. This is the one I like too. You saw the slap hit, then you saw the opposite field gapper. If you watch Dodgers Daily at all, Coach Holt and I, we talk about this all the time. That opposite field gap, that double to that gap, like we saw Trey Sweeney have last night, that's the most pure hit there is, because that tells me you're letting the ball get deep. See how you let that ball get deep? Let me stop that and show you just how deep he let that ball get as he hit this ball. Great load there. See how deep that is right there? That is very deep in his swing. Typically speaking, hitters like to hit the ball 4 to 6 inches in front of their body. That is probably, even with his front leg, that is a very deep timing there. And so that allows hitters to, it typically means that if you hit the opposite field gap, you're letting the ball get a little bit deeper. And then you're also, as we see what he did here, watch him hit through this ball. He doesn't pull off. See how he hit through that, didn't pull off that ball? That's why I like that opposite field gap. So it was good to see Kendall George kick it in gear and show you a lot of his skills as he gets older. And as he gets a little bit stronger, I think he's going to probably put a little bit more of a punch behind what he does, maybe add a little bit of power to it, and then also get to the higher velos. Those are probably the biggest targets for him at this point, but he continues to show signs of why the Dodgers chose him first in last year's draft. And then also Sean McClain down at the Single A level has been just absolutely ridiculous as of late. This is a young man out of Arizona State that is a very talented player, was injured basically from the time he entered the system. Remember, his brother Matt McClain is in the major league, so he comes from a major league pedigree. Another multi-hit game on Wednesday night. Last night, I believe he got one hit last night, but Wednesday night was his 7th of July. That is Emil Vargas at first base, by the way, old Dodgers farmhand who made it as high up to Double-A Tulsa last year. They're playing first base for, I believe that is Stockton right there. He had 3 hits on Wednesday night, including his third 3-hit game of the year, and he's hitting .385 so far in July. So Sean McClain it was his third triple, not his third 3-hit game of the year, third triple of the year. So Sean McClain has been absolutely smoking hot for Single A Rancho Cucamonga. This is a case study of why I just don't like to use statistical analysis. If you're just looking at a piece of paper and a stat sheet to evaluate young prospects, it's just not at all a comprehensive evaluation that really has any kind of meaning to me whatsoever. Kyle Nevin, and the reason is these guys, and I talked to Ben Kasparius about this, Kevin Gowdy, talked to him on back-to-back nights. Both of them said just point blank, we are working on new stuff all the time to try to increase the size of our big gulp and to just see, hey, how wide can we broaden our horizons and how good can we get? So there are things that these guys are working on at all times that aren't results-based. that we have nothing privy to. So when you look at the 238 average of Kyle Nevin, kind of a high strikeout rate, fine. I can't argue with that. What I would say is he has the absolute picture-perfect swing. Look at this right here. Head is slotted right here to his back hip, to his back knee, and through the back of his core. That is a perfect head slot. And look at the barrel, how he flattens the barrel here. First of all, watch the hand path. Watch these hands replace the front elbow here. Right there. See how they replace the front elbow? It flattens the barrel. And then from here, watch how flat his path of his hands are through this ball, which keeps that barrel in the hitting zone for a long, long time. So he's going to have a lot of consistency from the back to the front of his swing. Now watch from the front of the swing right here. Watch this lift. Lift in the front. That, my friends, is a picture-perfect swing. And so that tells me this is Kyle Nevin, a guy with a tremendous amount of potential to be a very consistent hitter with a 20 home run type potential. So why is he hitting 238 the high level? I think probably he's working on some kind of mechanical adjustments from day to day that aren't results based. But more so than anything, that also tells me that however fast it becomes that he reaches his potential, it's all up to swing decisions. Probably he swings at the high pitch a little bit too much, and that's probably as a result of the fact that, hey, he is a very patient hitter. He likes to pick and scope and find the pitch he likes to hit, and I think a lot of times, especially at the single A level or the high A level, he's behind the count because he's a little bit too selective. And then when you get too selective, at that point, you swing at those high fastballs. So I think it's all coming down to swing decisions for Kyle Nevin to see just how fast it takes him to reach his potential. Josue Paulo that you're seeing here, 104 miles an hour. Baseball's crazy. I tell you what, he had 108 and 109 mile an hour singles on Wednesday, and then the 104 mile an hour ball that's not as hard as the two singles ends up being a home run. So I've talked several different times that just goes to show that he hits the ball harder on the lower launch angles. I think the decision is going to be for the organization. Do we like the massive exit velos, although they are lower launch angles, or do we try to tinker with that and give him a little bit more of a steep and a little bit more lift in his swing to make his launch angles go up, which, like Ryan Ward, we're going to talk about here in a minute, is going to probably sacrifice some of the elite potential to the bat to ball and average that Josue Paulo has. So I think there is an interesting decision to go about what the Dodgers, which way they want to go. Do they want to try to raise his launch angles? That is a scary thing to do. That can really mess hitters up that are used to having this much success just trying to hit hard ground balls and line drives. I talk about that with Trey Sweeney all the time. But the great thing about it is the exit velos are elite. 108, 109 mile an hour singles. He's able to pop at 104 mile an hour. You can see he's a little bit late there and got a little bit jammed. Still able to pop 104 mile an hour home run for Josue Paulo. So super exciting. So for about the 50th time this year, there's a look at this. What I want to show you about this. Look at the count here. Full count, 2 strikes on him. So Tyrone Lorenzo hit an 111 mile an hour double on Wednesday. This is his next at bat up. Watch this. 2 strikes. Just kind of put the foot up, put it back down, and contact oriented. Just trying to hit the ball the other way, thinking just make contact. This is a young hitter that has not, as far as the statistics goes, has not had just a great year. And so you would think this is a guy that's really trying to just hit the ball as hard as far as he can every time up. Not Tyrone Lorenzo. Despite having the 111 mile an hour double, look at that 2-strike approach. And for a young hitter that is so highly touted, that is a very impressive approach to him. So he had the 2-strike approach and just slapped the ball into left field left-handed. And then his next at bat, here's another thing about him, Tyrone Lorenzo, he's going to get a base hit right-handed. So a hit left-handed, a hit right-handed. That's on the heels of having a 111 mile an hour double the night before. So again, put the stat sheet down, look at the process, look at the potential, and continue to look at what this player is doing that shows you the signs as part of the process that he has elite potential. That is certainly, we talked about Josue Paulo and Tyrone Lorenzo. Here's a couple of examples of why that is the case. Madison Jeffrey, MJ, he was in Rambo mode again. I call him Rambo because he looks like Kurt Rambis, and Kurt Rambis was a very famous Los Angeles basketball player. Looks just like him to me, and he kind of has that wild and crazy mentality. Look at him walk around the mound. He's got a lot of confidence. It's like, here you come, big boy. See if he can hit it, and he has consistently hit over 100 miles an hour. Now, he doesn't always know where the ball is going. He is using the minor. We talk about, hey, what one or set of things are these guys using the minor league systems to clean up the most? Well, we talked about with Josue DePaula, maybe to get the ball in the air and raise his launch angles. With Madison Jeffrey, no doubt about it, it is first control, just getting the ball in the strike zone. And then actually, once he gets it in the zone, within the zone, his command actually is better than his control. So it was good to see him stretch out to 2 innings last night. 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And Madison Jeffrey has gone scoreless in 3 of his last 4 games and has an ERA of just 1.35. And congratulations to the West Virginia Mountaineers. Randy Mazey, his head coach at West Virginia, just retired. Turned it over to Steve Sabins, who is at Oklahoma State for quite a while. Actually got recruited to play at OSU, was a coach at OSU, then moved on from OSU as a grad assistant to a full-time job at West Virginia. Steve Sabins is taking over for Randy Mazey, and I know next time I talk to Madison, I talked to Michael Grove about this last night. Going to release his interview here shortly. I know that Madison Jeffrey is very proud of them there at West Virginia. So here's a young man that we haven't covered a whole lot. This is a guy that went to Coastal Carolina and then ended up at Mount Olive. 6'2" Garrett McDaniels. He was drafted back in 2018, so he's been in pro ball for a while, but he was young when he got drafted, so he's still just 24. He still has a lot of time. He's left-handed. He's 6'2", third scoreless outing in a row. Fastball, slider curve. The fastball you're seeing is in the 93-ish range. That was according to John Vicari and Brad Tunney on the broadcast. So I wanted to show you a good look at Garrett McDaniels here, another lefty. And I'll tell you what, we mentioned this in the show yesterday. Anytime you have a left-hander and they're at Great Lakes and they're working with Robert De Los Santos and then also Dave Anderson, they are going to flourish, and certainly Garrett McDaniels has done that. So I wanted to give you a good look at the young 24-year-old out of Mount Olive, originally Coastal Carolina, Garrett McDaniels. Moving up to the AA Tulsa level, this is Dalton Rushing, kind of like Tyrone Lorenzo. If you remember that home run that I showed you for that he hit, that would have left the park there at Frisco. It hit a pillar. So then it hit a pillar. It was never in the screen as far as the video goes. It hit a pillar, and then after it hit the pillar, it dropped into their lazy river behind right field. This is another at bat here. So after hitting that type of mammoth home run, another young, very highly thought of prospect, letting the ball get deep, thinking contact, and slapping the ball to left field. What a great approach. And then here it is again. There is that opposite field gap double that tells you that Rushing is letting that ball get deep enough to do that with, and then see how deep, look how deep he let that ball get. That is awesome. And then also watch, because of that, he's not, see how he, look at that, how he hit that through that ball. That's why the opposite field gap is so important. See how he stayed on that ball? He did not pull off of it, and because of that, he put a really good charge into it. So, hey, Dalton Rushing, I know he's a big hot-button topic. As far as the trade market, he's on, I say it all the time, there is no such thing as an untouchable. There are more so untouchables than others. He is at the very top of my list. Yes, because he is a great hitter. Yes, because he is a great catcher. But his intangibles, his fiery competitive nature, the way that he holds his teammates accountable, those are intangibles that I just would have an extremely difficult time getting rid of. I think there's enough positional versatility between him and Will Smith and maybe a Diego Cartaya. So, hey, Dalton Rushing, I could not be more high on him. Boy, I tell you what, it's great to see Ben Harris's throw become more consistent, because there's been time, back at Great Lakes, he was like the best pitcher in all the minor leagues. As a matter of fact, I think he had the highest strikeout per 9 ratio of any pitcher in all of baseball. Don't quote me exactly on that. It might not be all of baseball. It might just be the minor leagues, but it's one of the two on that. Just know that he struck out everybody a couple of years ago. And then he did a pretty good job with the strikeouts last year, but then really his throw kind of got away from him. It became inconsistent. I've seen it with my own eyes at Tulsa that there are times where his throw gets away from him. He starts bouncing the ball to home plate. It goes high on him. And so the thing about Ben Harris, we talked about how he hides the ball. He has good stuff. It's all about how consistent can he be with his throw, and then that consistency in his throw gets the ball in the strike zone. And then when he gets the ball in the strike zone, He doesn't even need good command. Just control is enough for him because his ball is hidden well enough, and it's good enough stuff to beat hitters inside the zone, even if it's not like a perfectly located pitch through his command. And so it's really good to see Ben Harris being consistent again. 2 innings last night. No hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts, just 1 walk. And here it is. Okay, in those 2 innings, just 20 pitches. That goes to show you that his throw is consistent because he's efficient. And then that shows you the ball was in the zone, and he didn't get hit or scored on. So 3 scoreless outings in a row for Ben Harris, 6 scoreless outings out of his last 7, a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio this month. All signs are headed north for Ben Harris. Trey Sweeney is turning into the Trey Sweeney that we all thought he was going to be whenever he came up with the Dodgers. It's a well-kept secret that ground balls that we just saw, let me back it up and show you this. These ground balls right here that he just hit, as long as it's hit 95 miles an hour or over, are base hits like well over 50% of the time. So let me show you this. Whenever, I put that Mookie Betts clip up where he talked about how people mistake launch angle. He's just talking about just getting the ball off the ground. So I love the comment that Oral Hershiser made. So what your goal is, just get it past the pitcher's mound in the air. As long as you hit the ball hard, just the only thing you don't want to do is just hit it on the ground before it gets to the pitcher. So yes, this comes out and looks like a ground ball, but look right here. It makes it past the pitcher. And so as long as you're getting it past the pitcher and hitting it 95 miles an hour, it's going to be like a 1-hop, 2-hop, unless it's hit right at the infielder. It's going to be a base hit and have a batting average on it of probably 500 or over. That is a well-kept secret in the major leagues, that all of those ground balls like that are hard hit count very much so. And there's another one right there. See, it made it past the pitcher in the air. Just get it off the ground. Getting it off the ground means get it past the pitcher. And really, that first baseman only had 1 step, and that was it, and wasn't able to field it. Those are hits well over 50% of the time, and they count. So I love the fact that Trey Sweeney's able to do that. I hope the Dodgers don't change a single thing with his swing or his offensive game, because I love the way that he hits. Look at that swing. That is beautiful. Had the awesome chance to go to Oklahoma City every day this week, and I've released my interviews with Sauer and Lau, and then also with Brusdar Gratterall, and then also on Ryan Ward. My first round of 3 last night, I got Bobby Miller. I got this young man, Michael Peterson, Michael Grove, and Ben Kasparius going back tonight to get J.P. Fireeisen, Jose Hernandez, and Jesse Hahn. And then Saturday, I've got some Hunter Fiducia coming your way. So super excited about all then John Rooney as well. But hey, this is Big Mike, British Gas. I asked him which one he likes the best in the interview. He said, hey, whichever one you want to put Major League Veteran behind that. That was funny. Hey, it's about an 8 or 9 minute interview. I can't wait to release it. It was a whole lot of fun to get to talk to him. He threw a scoreless inning last night for AAA Oklahoma City. His ERA is down to 1.48, whip down to 0.69. His K percentage is at 37.9 at the AAA level, and his walk percentage is just 6.9. So hopefully he's not in Oklahoma City for long. I was glad to get to catch him while he was, because this is the guy, the British Gas, Big Mike, that throws fuzz. He's over 100 miles an hour consistently, so hopefully he's back in L.A. here before too long. The British Gas, Michael Peterson.